Although one of the most important election campaign propaganda of the Erdogan government was democracy and human rights, they haven't kept the promises they committed in this regard. The signals of a dictatorial regime were recognized during the Gezi protests in Istanbul. People who attended those non-violent, peaceful protests were responded to repressively by the government's police forces. Not long after the agenda in Turkey was rocked with Gezi incidents, a new shocking wave shook the public with the December 17th through 25th corruption and bribery investigations through the government. It was very well understood that many government representatives were also involved in the corruption, because just after the investigation started, lots of policemen and judiciary people were expelled or fired, and new ones were replaced very quickly. Not more than a year later, a verdict of non-prosecution about the lawsuits was declared, and custody and arrests were started by the police and prosecutors. While all those dazzling unjust incidents were happening, some members of the media were criticizing the government. Since the Erdogan government was not tolerant with the criticism toward their corrupt deeds, the directors of two eminent media outlets were detained. One of them was Ekrem Dumanli, the chief editor of Zaman Daily, the biggest daily newspaper in Turkey, again affiliated with the Gulen movement. And the other person was Hidayet Karaca, the chief executive of STV, a national TV channel affiliated with the Gulen movement. This was the best step to oppress the public opposition, and Gulen followers were the best target to fulfill their oppression. Following the media companies, educational organizations like 250 private high schools, 30 universities, and also 100 health institutions were seized and gradually shut down. Because of this justice scandal, thousands of people lost their jobs and even their licenses to work. Besides the hunt of all those companies, the government was also committing a crime with a wrong foreign policy through Syria. Along with that, the video coverages and photographs of trucks which were carrying heavy guns were published with a headline of, "These are the guns that Erdogan denied. The National Intelligence Agency committed a war crime." Erdogan responded to those accusations by targeting the journalists over TV screens. Erdogan government's trouble through the country was not only about justice, but also about the security, because the terrorists were taking advantage of the turmoil within the country and stepping inside the city centers. Furthermore, discharging of the policemen by the accusations of being a Gulen follower or even a Gulen sympathizer would cause major conflicts in that part of the country. With the murder of Tahir Elçi, the Law Association president in Diyarbakir, incidents in eastern Turkey came off the hinges. Tahir Elçi was also occupying with human rights defenses, especially of the oppressed people. It was the time for the government to apply greater pressure to oppress the media that was criticizing and warning them. Several media outlets besides the Gulen-affiliated ones were seized by the government with interferences that could not be erased from the memory. And that meant that dictatorship won. The coup attempt on July 15th, 2016, that was called as a blessing from the God by Erdogan, let the country be a whole body. This also caused the opposition forces to be silent, and all the media was just functioning as a mouthpiece of the government. In addition to all of these, an emergency state was declared so that the number of arrests increased drastically. Were also arrested with the accusation of terrorist organization membership. Help! Help! After the army forces who were claimed to be behind the coup, journalists, business people, lawyers, judges, doctors, and even teachers, the worst and most touching arrests among them all were of women with little babies and pregnant women. With the passing of time, Turkish government has been becoming more brutal. Women and children are suffering more than anyone else since they are exposed to the harsh conditions in jails, and they have been getting more vulnerable to extreme human rights violations, from malnutrition to sexual harassment. According to the Stockholm Center for Freedom, the women's physical and mental health deteriorated rapidly after they went through abuse, isolation, poor diet and hygiene, lack of access to health care, and the psychic trauma of incarceration. The arbitrary detention of women in big numbers has taken a toll not only on jailed women, but also on their children and family members.
Herce insan işlerinden atıldılar. Bunlardan biri de benim eşim, annem, babam. İlk aylarda ben eşimi görmek için her görüşe gittim şehir değiştirerek. Yalnız birkaç ay sonra artık polisler benim için de gelmişlerdi. Ben evde olmadığım için kapıyı kırıp girmişler. Haliyle o tarihten beri kaçak olarak aranıyorum. Yaklaşık bir yıldan fazla bir süredir de eşimle haliyle görüşemiyorum kaçak olduğum için. Ama bu süreçte bizler kendi üzüntümüzü bir kenara bırakıp daha çok çocuklara üzülüyoruz. Bu 700 civarı çocuk için de hayat çok zor. Çünkü o koğuş avlularında koşacak, oynayacak, hatta kapasitenin 3 katı insan olduğu için yatacak yer bile bulamıyor o çocuklar. Cezaevinde doğum yapan kadınlar var. Bu kadınların çocukları 1 yaşlarına girdi cezaevinde. Bizim karıncayı bile incitmeyen insanlar olduğumuzu aslında çok iyi biliyorlar ama maalesef şu anda biz kendimizi anlatacak merciyi bulamıyoruz. Bir dipsiz kuyunun içindeyiz. Ne bağırabiliyoruz ne de bağırdığımızda sesimizi duyan oluyor. Yalnız şükrediyoruz tabii ki. Çünkü bunları haksız yere yaşıyor olmak önemli. Hani Sokrates asılacağı zaman eşi ona bağırıyor ya, haksız yere yaşıyorsun bunları diye. O da diyor ki haklı yere mi assalardı? Haliyle biz de buna şükrediyoruz. Biz haksız yere yaşıyoruz.
All of them were so sort of traumatic. You almost couldn't say which was more. But I will say one that resonated more with me as a mother and as a female was the wife. There were two women. One woman going across who was on a boat that was overcrowded because remember there are many people trying to come in. They've been smuggled in. The waters are rough. More people than the boat actually holds. And she's holding her baby. But with the waves and the rocking of the people, she lost the baby in the water. When I heard that, my heart just wept. You know, when I think about it right now, I can't even imagine, you know, how this mother feels. She has not spoken since that day.
The reason they felt that they had to leave their home country, their families, their traditions, knowing that that was because of the good they were doing in the world, that's devastating. For someone to understand that by helping other people, they were being persecuted. So that's number one, to see these people having to leave everything they know, everything they love, everything they've built and worked for in order to help the world be a better place. They were forced to make these amazingly cruel decisions. The cruelty was forced on them. And visiting them, it was emotionally heart-wrenching, devastating to hear the stories of pain, of some losing their children along the way, of smugglers taking everything that they had, of the government just throwing them out of their any sense of reality. You know, there's so much pain in this world. Mm-hmm. We are overwhelmed. As an individual, I'm overwhelmed so many times by hearing the stories, and we hear similar stories from so many groups of people, that we are just, our senses cannot handle every story, and we tend to discount what we don't see with our own eyes or experience it with our own beings, being proximate to people.
3-5'ini imha et bakalım ne oluyor. 3-5'ini kafasına sık. O nasıl korkuyorlar? Abdullah Bozkurt. Stockholm'da yaşıyor. Ev adresi biliniyor. Evet. Amerika'dakiler biliniyor. Emre Uslu'nun nerede oturduğu biliniyor.
Evet,
Diğer
Ekrem Dumanlı'nın nerede oturduğu
alçakların İhsan Yılmaz denilen köpeğin Avustralya'da Yeni Zelanda arasında gidip geldiği biliniyor. Dışarıda yetki var ya. Milli istihbaratın yetkisi var.
Evet.
Dışarıda şeyi var.
Artık yetkisi var. Kardeşim harekete geçin.